Hello, lovely people. My name is Orlacia, and I'm just here to share the gospel today. I think this reading today was amazing, okay? If you just let the Holy Spirit lead you and guide you into all things, into all truth, He will open your eyes to so much revelation. I just love it. And I know we all get to different revelations at different times, so don't be coming at me. But the two parallels that I saw today in Genesis 22 through 25, that's what I read today. They were so amazing and eye-opening and revelatory, and I love it so much. And so what happened today was, now, as we know, Abraham is living in his promise. Not the full thing, because his descendants have not yet multiplied. But at this point, he is living in a promise where God said he would have a child through Sarah, Isaac. Isaac is alive, he's well, he's breathing, and he's a boy, okay? He's living, okay? That was Pinocchio vibes. But what is happening now is that this random day, God pulls up and he's like, behold, here I am. And I was like, I literally wrote in my Bible, why God pulled up like that? Because why did you pull up like that? Behold, here I am. Okay. But then he gives instruction and he's like, I'm gonna need you to take the son that I promised to you, go to the land of Moriah. I'll tell you which mountain to get up on, and I need you to sacrifice him. And so Abraham, he had time to say no. That very next day, he rose up, got the firewood, the flint, no animal to sacrifice. And he starts making his way. It's a 3 days journey. And he still did not turn around. He still ain't said no. He just kept going. Now, baby, that's something to learn from. But anyways, on the way, Isaac is like, Dad? Abraham's like, here I am, son. And so I'm like, God, what is all with all this? Here I am, here I am. And literally, I did not receive the revelation until I started to make the video. And God was like, it's an acknowledgement of a relationship. Because in this day, we are adopted into sonship, father-son relationship, father-child relationship. I am a daughter of God. You are a child of God, preferably if you are watching this video. And so it's an acknowledgement of a relationship. If you've ever felt God's glory, and it's like a heaviness, but it's not burdensome. It's just like a weight, a heavy weight. That's God saying, here I am. If you've ever been like on your way to school or on your way somewhere and you ask God, can you please show me a hot pink car, and I know you are here with me. Suddenly this hot pink car zooms out of nowhere. That's God saying, here I am. And so he said it was just a way of acknowledgement. And I love that, because that's one of the parallels he was showing me about back then and now. He still has those moments, and he says, behold, here I am. And in that moment, we also have to sit, just as Abraham did, and listen to him. Maybe there's instruction that he's trying to tell us. Maybe there is something that he needs us to see. But we sit in that moment and acknowledge his presence, because he is saying, here I am. And it's like, I like that. That makes my heart, that warms my heart. Anyways, second parallel and last parallel, because but I thought this was so amazing. Chapter 24. Okay, chapter 23, Sarah dies. Abraham buys the plot of land in the cave to bury her. Chapter 24, Abraham is about to die, but he's like, God made me a promise that my descendants will be as numerous as the sands of the dust of the sand or whatever, and the stars of the sky. Why is my son not married? So I need the promise to come to pass. And so he sends his servant to where he's from, because he's like, my son is not about to have a Canaanite woman. All right. And so he sends his servant, and his servant, Abraham tells the servant that God has already sent an angel before him. And so the servant's like, cool, goes on the journey. And he gets there and he prays to God. He was like, O Lord of my master Abraham, can you just let this specific situation happen and I'll know you're here with me? And that's real because I be doing that too. And so when the situation comes to pass, when Rebecca draws up a pail of water, gives the servant some water, and then she also gives the camel some water, the servant is like, bet, you're the wife. And so he goes to Rebecca. He's like, he offers her jewelry, obviously showing off that he is a servant of a wealthy man. And he's like, hey, low key, like, I have a groom that I think you would be perfect for. And so he meets Rebecca's brother Laban. He meets her mama. I think he meets her dad, Nahor. I don't remember. But get back to the house, and this was a parallel. This was like, I was like, I've seen this before. Verses 53 to 54, it says, and the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, send me away unto my master. Now you may ask, girl, what do that got to do with anything today? Listen, when I read tarried all night, I was like, that sounds familiar. In the New Testament, what is Jesus doing right now? Like, what is Jesus doing today? He is tarrying until the moment where he meets with his bride. Remember, he's the bridegroom. He is tarrying to that moment where he meets with the bride, which is us, pure and holy. We are dressed in white raiment, waiting on his return. And so when it said tarried all night, I was like, but the thing is, yes, it's talking about a servant, but if you look at it this way, who are God's servants on earth? They are the people who are over his flock. He sets people over his flock. Remember, he told the man in the New Testament, feed my sheep. I'm trying to talk too fast. He's like, feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. He has people today who feed his sheep. And the people, they're called shepherds, yes. And they are supposed to be connecting the sheep to the good shepherd. They're supposed to help them form that relationship. So they are servants of God, literally middlemen. That's what this servant was. He was a middleman, connecting the bride, Rebecca, to the bridegroom, Isaac. What shepherds today do, they are supposed to connect God's sheep, the bride, and the servant, he's a bride too, to the good shepherd, the bridegroom, so they can form their own relationship. And so I found that so amazing. And what he's doing is it paralleled the marriage of the Lamb so well that at this point they also had a feast here. What we gonna do when we get to the marriage of the Lamb? It's a feast. He said, I'm not drinking of this at the Last Supper. He's like, I'm not drinking of this wine again until the marriage of the Lamb. Okay? And I was like, that's so amazing. Okay. Yeah, I kind of just like fangirled over that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a parallel that I've never seen before. But that was so amazing. And if you would just look, when you read the Old Testament, try not to think of it as purely history, because it still applies today. Those same customs, they low-key apply today. You just have to see what it is modernly translated. And that takes research. I'm not gonna lie, that takes some research. And it's good to research, get to know him on a deeper level. And that's why we have the Holy Spirit to guide us into all truth. So yeah, and don't be afraid to ask the Lord. Ask God, can you send an angel before me today, so that I know that you are with me in that moment, so that I know that where you are sending me, I will prosper. That's why the angel was sent before the servant, so that he would prosper in finding a wife for Isaac. And so don't be afraid to ask him that, and don't be afraid to say, God, where are you? where is your presence? You said, behold, here I am, but I need to see you for myself. Behold, where are you? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Now I'm sounding like them angels who be like, be not afraid, baby. I would probably be a little afraid. But yeah, I hope y'all have a great day. Once again, I was just here to share the gospel, and I love how that just connected so smoothly and seamlessly, and that you could see what how the Old Testament was low-key a precursor to the New Testament. It all is, and how it all connects to Jesus. It's amazing. So I hope this encourages you to try to do the same, to seek God and seek Jesus in all the scriptures, because he's there. I hope you have a good day, and always remember, a humble child tastes grace.